Get some perspective on this tragedy this morning. We're live with Dr. Alex Del Carmen, who leads the School of Criminology, Criminal Justice, and Strategic Studies at Tarleton State University's campus in Fort Worth. This is the third large-scale attack in 18 months in France. You had the Charlie Hebdo, the Bataclan nightclub attack, now this, and of course you can't forget what happened in Brussels as well. Why is this part of the world so ripe for terrorist attacks?
Good morning, Tim, and thanks for having me this morning. I think that at the end of the day, what we are looking at is that Europe has been, for some time now, has attracted a great deal of individuals that are radicalized and they want to harm others, particularly in the European continent. So in many ways, this is no surprise to the rest of us that have been watching this for some time.
At first blush, would you guess this is a one-person attack? One man involved, one man shot and killed by police. But do you have any indication, any inkling, any suspicion that more people may have been involved in this?
Typically, you have a cell that supports that one action, so I would not be surprised that the French authorities at some point are going to uncover many individuals associated with this act. Having said that, it probably was committed by one individual, but I'm sure that they had others that supported him.
This has been a problem in particular in southern France, which is right across the Mediterranean from North Africa, places like Tunisia and Morocco and Libya. And those countries have been exporting for decades some people who become disaffected with their lives in France.
Right, so what we are seeing is that there's been the argument that immigration and a rather loose policy on immigration leads to these particular attacks. I'm not certain that that's the case, but what we do know is that in fact, some individuals in Europe, particularly in France, have been radicalized for some time. And so the access to the media, the access to social media, that seems to be the vehicle for ISIS and other groups to radicalize individuals seems to be the culprit behind it.
France prides itself, like the United States does, on civil liberties and constitutional rights. But in a situation like this, some of those rights in France, in a state of emergency, are suspended. Do you foresee the day in this country, God forbid, that we might have to do the same thing?
You know, Tim, it's hard to say, but I know that when you look at other countries throughout the world, for instance, Israel, who seems to have the best security around, there is always a debate between people and government, between how many rights are we willing to give up for the sake of security. And so perhaps one day, God forbid, as you say, that would happen in the United States, but that question has been asked before, and the answer remains to be seen.
Right, right, and usually in knee-jerk reaction to something terrible that happens. Dr. Del Carmen, thanks very much, as always. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Tim.